With the 8th selection in the 2005 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Antrel Rolle, cornerback, University of Miami.
Over the middle, intercepted.
Crazy.
Release over the middle, pass deflected.
You would have asked me, I would rather my son play baseball or soccer. team is now exceptional. They got what they wanted in Pacman Jones. I done named the Kendall Steele. Whatever I say,
Thank you for tuning in to the BTN podcast, where we are redefining the narrative. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Turn on notifications so you can stay up to date with all our latest episodes. Today we have Antrel Rolle. Thank you for allowing us to come to your home. Super Bowl champion, national champion, 3-time Pro Bowler. So the first question I'm going to ask you is, should you have gone and picked in front of Pacman Jones? I know he's your boy, but let's talk about it.
you know what? I think it all at that point, it just depends on what you want. You know, what you're looking for as an owner, as a head coach. And they got what they wanted in Pacman Jones. I don't feel like there was no wrong choice. Either Pacman, myself, even Carlos Rogers, we were all three very dominant corners at the collegiate level. We all possessed different strengths and talents, but we were all great at what we did. So it was like, do you like vanilla? Do you like strawberry? Do you like chocolate? You couldn't go wrong. You know what I mean? So Pacman is a hell of
That's
a
a great political answer.
Yeah, no, but listen, that's a real answer. Like, that's not a bullshit answer. That's a real answer for me because it's all about what you want.
Sure.
And Pacman had the returnability. I had returnability as well, but he had more.
Right.
He had more touches. He had more opportunities. He was a faster guy. I was the bigger, stronger guy. So it's really all about what you want and what you were looking for.
You just named the top 3 flavors in a banana split, so you can't go wrong.
I never had it.
You never had it?
Never
You
had
can't.
it.
Oh my! You're missing out.
I gotta have everything. If I'm gonna have ice cream, my fruit has to be separate. I can't like eat nuts with ice cream.
Oh my God! I like the whole party. Put everything in the bowl.
That's probably part of my OCD ways, man. You know, it's bad.
Do you like
It's
split
bad.
your food off in the plate too? Like this can't touch this or this can't touch that?
It can't overflow. It can touch. It just can't overflow. It can't overflow.
I got you.
You know what I mean?
I got it.
The ADD kicks in.
Yeah, so I just want to start with that question. I know you and Pacman are, you go way back. But so I read somewhere that you were going to commit to the University of Florida, but instead you decided to go to UM. What triggered that decision, switching from the University of Florida to UM?
Man, listen. I didn't grow up watching collegiate football. When I started watching collegiate football, I was probably late sophomore year, junior year. My dad would always get on me. How you gonna be good at something if you don't watch it?
It sounds like when I told my daughter.
I did all right, dog. I did all right. But I just wanted to play, man. I was a kid's kid. I would rather be outside playing football instead of watching it. That's just who I am. My son, he's the same way, so that's why I don't really get on him. He may touch a football in an off season 1-2 times max. He doesn't touch a football. But I would be outside playing. You know, he had more kids to play with during those days. You know, those days were a lot better, in my opinion, just keeping it 100. But, but what made me choose the University of Miami was going to one practice. That's all it took.
That's all it took?
That's all it took.
What'd you see?
I saw, how do you describe it? I saw chaos. I saw just that dog mentality, bro. Like it was something that an 8-year-old kid had never seen, you know. And I grew up playing football at Florida City Razorbacks, you know, down in the hood, and still I had never seen anything like that. I saw guys trying to literally kill each other.
You saw violence with pads on. Most people don't see that. Most people,
that shit's bad.
It's
bro.
violence.
Like, to the point where, like, I'm looking at, like, how are they not throwing blows right now? Like, shit. Like,
You have like an example?
Somebody hit me like that, like, damn it, we throwing blows. Like, fuck football at this point, you know what I mean? Like, we're out. But I saw camaraderie. When the whistle blew, I saw Clinton Portis giving Howard Clark water, DJ Williams giving Jared Payton water. I was like, yo, he was trying to kill you. Like, he was trying to kill you. I saw with my own eyes. He was trying to kill you. But that was just their standard. That was just their standard. And I had never seen anything like that. And when I went there and I saw that and I witnessed, I was like, I went home. I said, Mom, I got to go to the University of Miami. I said, I got to be there.
How old were you?
I was 18 years old.
Oh.
I was 18.
Yeah, coming out of South Dade High School.
I was 18 years old, and I saw that, and instantly, like, Florida was never another thought on my mind.
Wow.
Like,
wow.
Instantly, it vanished.
Did you call the
You should
coaches
say-
at Florida?
You should emphasize that right there. Florida, what? I'm sorry.
Yeah, Florida, yeah. Man,
There's only one Kane fan here, and it's not any of these three guys. So.
Yeah. But, you know, but Florida at that time, you know, they had Spurrier. They were rocking.
Yeah, they were
man.
balling.
But no coach, nothing mattered more to me than what I saw on that field, which was that brotherhood, that chemistry. And when you play the game, you understand that. And I didn't even understand what I was witnessing at that young age, but I knew it was something.
Right.
I knew it was something.
Who took you in? Because every time you go into a program, an older guy finds a liking to you. It's probably a local guy who relates to you. So who was that guy that you said, you know, this guy took me in and like watch over me?
So the guy that took me in, I would have to say, was Mike Rump and Phil Buchanan.
Oh, two sides.
Two guys that
ballers, yeah.
I was playing behind. Mike Rump was just a nice guy, man. He just an overall nice guy.
Where was Mike from?
I'm not sure where Mike is from.
Was he from Miami?
No, he's not from Miami, but I'm thinking somewhere in Florida.
That's why he was a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. Still to this day, man. Real personable, nice guy. Like, ask you how your family is doing. Like, just real nice guy. You know, you can tell that he grew up young, but he was very, very mature for a young guy, for a guy in college. The rest of us was wild, you know, out there doing our thing. But Mike was very headstrong at a young age. And Phil Buchanan. Phil Buchanan was, to me, he's the best corner that ever played at the University of Miami.
Oh.
I know I'm the highest drafted corner to ever come out of the University of Miami, but in my opinion, Phil Buchanan is the best corner to ever play at the University of Miami. And the reason I say that is he was electrifying. Like, I played the game, I had a different type of dog, I had a different mentality, I would shut shit down. Phil was electrifying. Like, the best player on your team, electrifying. You know, out of all the studs that we have, Phil would do things at a defensive back position that you're not really supposed to see. Like, he would change games the way games are really not supposed to be changed from a nickel and cornerback position. He was that dude, whether you put him at punt return, he could have played multiple positions on the field and excelled at all of them. Like, he was that special. He was a dynamic player.
Nice.
How was day one? You get to the University of Miami, day one, you step there and you're like, okay, what am I walking into?
Do I belong? Do I belong? Can I hang?
You really want to know what our day was? Like?
Hell yeah, I want to know.
All right. So day one, you know, parents drop you off, you have your little orientation, everything like that. It's about maybe 23, 24 freshmen at that time. We walk into the players' locker room. The lights go out. Oh, shit. Damn, they got a power outage. No, boy.
Here comes the hazing.
No, boy, ain't no power outage. So the lights click back on. Rest in peace, man. Chris Campbell had Sean T, had Sean Taylor in the chokehold. I'm talking about choking him out, and I'm like choking him out. Not like play choking him out. Like, Sean, eyes popping out, he's getting red, he's trying to fight, blah, blah, blah. So at that point, I see that, I grab the closest person to me and was like, I'm gonna get his ass before he try to get me. And I don't know if it was Phil, it was someone. It was one of the DBs that I grabbed, and shit, I went to work in the locker. And then all five of them grabbed me, and I'm struggling for dear life, and it's like, shit, it's survival of the fittest right now. Hey, it is what it is, but they whooped our ass that day. They whooped our ass. There's no other way to say it. I mean, you got 75 versus 25. Yeah, we lost. And we lost bad. But at the end of the day, I think, they did that to see who's going to be the fighters. Who's going to fight back, or who's just going to sit there and lay down and surrender. I don't even know what the hell surrender is.
Right.
You're going to have to kill me.
Right.
That's my mentality. That's the way I was raised. And like I said, when I mentioned your sons earlier, it's certain things that you can see. When you've been in certain situations, I can look at a kid and watch him for 1 minute and tell you, oh, he's gangster. Or, nah, he ain't got it. Or he's going to be a late bloomer. Like, people don't see it now. And he hasn't come out of that shell now, but when he gets older, he's going to be that dude. Like, I have a lot of kids on my football team now that you can look at and say, oh, he's a stud right now, but eventually his is going to fall off. Or
Nice. Like peak too soon.
yeah, and that's a real thing that people don't understand. That is a real thing that people don't understand. But University of Miami, man, like I say, outside of having my children, I put that over high school, over NFL. I put that over anything.
Wow.
It was special.
Good experience. Especially you being from down here.
It was the best experience of my life. Best experience of my life.
What's
Outside of having my children.
And you got there when there was a transition going because Butch Davis went to the NFL, then Coker took over. How was that transition? I mean, you weren't there in 2000, but was it just a carryover from Butch Davis to Coker, kind of like the standard?
Right. I was recruited obviously by Butch Davis.
Yeah.
But everyone pretty much stayed in place other than Butch. I think Schiano left.
Rutgers.
Butch, Butch left. But Coker was the next man in charge. Coker was a real nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
Real personable guy. But our team, we honestly could have went out there with no coaches and did exactly what we did all year long. The coaches, they implemented plays. They had a structure, but the players ran the team. The coaches could literally sit back and install cover 2, cover 1, cover 3, and cross their feet and cross their arms, and the rest was history. Because you had cerebral players, you had smart players, you had players that had dog, you had players that paid attention to other players and knew how to get the best out of them. We had a strength coach in Andrew Swayze, who was the nucleus of that University of Miami run. He was that guy. And there's no other way for me to say that guy other than that guy. Like, he was him. He's the guy that knew what was going on in your personal life, your outside life, your football life, your school life. And he brought the very, very best out of you. Not every time you were on the field, each and every day. Mentally, spiritually, your home life. Like, he was the father figure of many other students, including myself, when I was in college. My dad is the best man I've ever known in my life, but he wasn't with me in college. So I needed to lean on somebody. Who was that guy? It was him. Right. To this day, we still have a very, very personal relationship. And I think it carries over so much more than just being a strength coach. He was a mentor. He was a father figure. He was a big brother. He was the guy that when you were down, he would come over there and whisper to you, hey, man, Trey, I need you to. And then he was a guy, if you were late, bust your ass. Like, we had guys that would tell him their mom died. Sorry, Swayze, I'm sorry, man. My mom died. Your mom died? Well, who was that? Yo, it was bad. And it wasn't even so much that he would punish you so bad. It was the embarrassment. Right. Like, you didn't want to let him down, and you don't want to let your team down. But that's who he was. Like, Coach Swayze was the core to that University of Miami run. Nice. And anybody, you speak to anyone, and they will tell you exactly what I said.
Yeah, I've heard that, and the research I've done, his name keeps popping up. So you get there in 2001. You come in with Frank Gore. You come in with Roscoe Parrish. You come in with Sean Taylor. That was your class. Sean Taylor, right? Like, did you guys have like a rivalry? Like, want to be the best defensive back on the team? Like, You guys go at it with each other?
You know, the crazy thing about that is there was never a rivalry between Sean and myself. We were two completely different players, but we were from the same neighborhood, right? Like, Sean's father was police chief. His father worked with my father when we were kids.
Yeah, your dad was a police chief
My
as well.
dad's police chief as well.
Homestead, right?
He's a Homestead.
Yep.
Pete Taylor's a police chief in Florida City. Sean and I grew up playing for the Homestead Hurricanes at 6 years old together. Nice. There was never a rivalry. Only like a brotherhood on the field. Like off the field, Sean and I, we really never hung out like that. Right. We were night and day. We were two completely different cats. But on the field, we were, I swear to God, we were attached at the hip. You know, more than any teammate I've ever had in my whole career. Wow. Because I understood him and he understood me. I knew his strengths and weaknesses and he knew mine. And we played off each other. I get goosebumps thinking about it because it's the best thing I ever witnessed in my life. And the way we played off each other and the way we worked, it was hard. Like we competed every day. Like every day, it was Sean, myself, Coach Swayze. We were trying to beat Swayze. We would go work out at 5 a.m. and run 21-10s trying to beat Swayze. Like Swayze was that dude. Like he would do the workout 2 weeks before us, and he would say, if I catch y'all working out outside of what we doing, I'm gonna slap the shit out of you. You don't need to do any workouts outside of what I'm showing you. There's a science to this shit, fellas. There's a science to it. I already know when you're gonna feel like your ass is gonna fall off because I've already fucking done it. What better guy is there to have you, to teach you than someone who's doing it themselves? Of course. Yeah. You know? So he knew when he got to 16 110s, you felt like your ass cheek was gonna fall off. You know, he's already felt it. So, and that's why a lot of people don't understand, man. Like it's levels to certain things that people really just don't understand.
Sure. Sean, the best player you've ever played with?
I think Sean is he's the most feared player I've ever played with. I think he, at the safety position, like I played safety later on in my career, like my 4 years ending my career. I was a very versatile safety. I was a corner that converted to safety, so I had different skill set. Sean, just playing the safety position, he was different, bro. He was different. Like, people see the hard hits and, you know, the change of direction this way, go run, catch that ball, intercept that ball, rangy, long guy. They didn't understand his intellect.
Right. His IQ?
His IQ was different. He was a ball hawk, man. He knew whether it was run play, pass play. You never saw him study. I never saw him study. I never saw him study.
Don't you hate those people?
But let me tell you something. He never missed assignments. He knew where to be. He knew how to make. He knew how to make checks, calls. But man, Sean was like that since we were this big, man. He was a baller.
So sad what happened to him, man.
Yeah, that's the worst thing ever in life. Worst thing ever in life.
I can't believe that happened. But yeah, did you play on the Pro Bowl with Sean when he took out that punter?
No. No. But I did watch it. That's Sean.
Yeah, that's Sean. I was gonna ask you. That's like
you're gonna get all or you're gonna get nothing.
Right.
And if Sean is on that field, nothing is not even in the equation.
Right.
So he gonna bust your ass. Right. Like, and it's coming. But that's how we practice. Like, there were times when Sean, myself, Kellen Winslow, and Frank, like, we would go at it. We would go at it. I remember Kellen Winslow crackbacked me so, oh my God. Yo, he crackbacked me, and no lie, I probably went 10 feet airborne.
Oh, man.
What a talent. What a talent he was.
Oh, yeah.
What a
He's
talent.
unbelievable.
He's another different one.
How many NFL players were on that team? On
well, we had 17 on that team drafted in the first round alone.
Yeah. That's insane.
Yeah, 17 drafted in the first round alone.
That's insane.
That team.
It's in the 30s. It's in the 30s that played in the NFL. I think.
Yeah, that team was insane though. Like, it was insane, but the practices Game days for us they were
it's
walking
easy,
apart. Like I won't lie to you, it was a walking apart.
Most people don't realize that you literally practice against the best in the country every single day. So by the time the game time comes, you're like, are you gonna come or what? Like it doesn't even seem like they can bring half of the stuff that you play with, that you practice with every single day.
Oh no, but that's what you want. You know, you want to build that type of camaraderie and chemistry and dog within the core that you have to see every day. And I try to transfer that to my youth football team now. We live in the Kendall area, right? We're not predominantly dogs. You know, you have, let's call it what it is. You know, you have whites, you have Hispanics, you have some blacks. And when you talk about football, blacks normally dominate the sport of football other than offensive line, tight end, quarterback, right? So I try to bring everyone together. And no matter what your skin color is, get the same common goal. I need that dog. If he don't have it, I'm going to line you up with him every single day. He going to get that shit. You're going to either fight or you're going to fly. I'm going to get that shit out of you every day.
Yeah, you're going to find out if they're a football player.
I'm going to find out.
Football's not for everybody.
My goal is to make you quit. That's my goal. And then once I see that I can't make you quit, I'm going to love you forever. That's it. I'm going to love you forever. But my goal is to make you quit. I want to see who's going to quit.
You tell them that?
Nah.
No, you just push them. Push them to the point either.
Push them to the brink.
And I had 2 kids. I had 2 kids that called me this offseason. Like, Coach, I don't want to play football no more. I said, you don't want to play? No, why? Coach, it's too hard. I said, listen, just give me 2 weeks, right? Give me 2 weeks. If you want to quit, then I'll let you quit. Give me 2 weeks, though. But let me work you. Give me 2 weeks. Now if I show you a video of him, you would not believe that that's the same kid.
Right.
But
So you saw something. You saw something you didn't want him to just walk away. There was something there.
it was, not only was there something there, I don't believe in quitters. So although my mission is to try to break you, I never want to be successful. Please prove me wrong.
Right.
You know, make me out of a liar. That's what I want, because it's not just about football. Life is going to get hard. We all know life is going to get hard. You know, and I say all the time, you know, people may see the glory, but they're never going to understand the story. You know, you can see certain things now that you may look at like, oh, you got this and you got that. Yeah, but you don't know what that shit took.
The work that it takes to get there.
You don't know what it took. And a lot of times people take that for granted. So with kids, man, I try to get the very best out of them. And I'm hard on them. I'm hard on them, man. Like, but when I'm outside of coach role, nobody loves them kids more than me. Nobody does. Man, listen, for game days, I prepare generators, fans, coolers, ice, water, towel. I got one kid on the team. I got one son on the team. My son don't need all that shit. You know what I'm saying? Tense. Bro, but that's just me. Like, I love those kids that much. Right. You know what I mean? And some parents can't handle the hard coaching. You know, sometimes we cuss them out, we get in their shit. But you got to always understand, sometimes y'all too easy on these kids, man. Sometimes they need this. They need it. Like, we can only coddle them for so long until they get out there in the real world. So, you know, when my son get out there in the real world and someone say, "You F boy," he gonna look at him, "Boy, please, I heard that shit from my daddy." What you got for me next, homeboy?
That's what you came with?
What you got for me next?
I say the same thing to my kids' coaches. You're not going to break my kids.
You're going to break them.
You're not going to tell them worse than what I already tell them. Yeah. Believe me, you're not going to scream at them harder than I do. You're not going to talk to them the way I do. So go for it. As a matter of fact, I literally encourage the coaches. I said, please, do not be soft with my kids.
You can't be soft.
Don't be soft with my kids.
My kid's not going to understand.
You got my permission
softness.
to do what you got to do.
He's not going to understand it. You know, at home, I'm daddy. I'm loving. You can sleep in my bed at night, man. Let's do the locker room shower. Both of us butt naked taking a shower. Hey, man, Junior, wash my back. I'm daddy. You know, like, we barely talk about football. We barely talk about sports. You know, now he's getting older. He's more into sports, so he's starting to understand it more. So we'll talk about it more because of him, but never really because of me. And I want to make sure, like, I separate those lines. And I had to work on myself with that as well, because when he was younger, he would play and he would mess up and do certain things. I wanted to kill him. I'm like,
That was actually one of the questions I was gonna have for you. Is how do you flip it from dad to coach?
man, I had to work on that. Like, I had to work on that. Like,
And I'm sure you're still working on it.
oh yeah, still. But now it's like good game, bad game, no matter what. I'll tell him about it. Hey man, you know, you need to pick that shit up, man. This and the other. But then it's done.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember, I think he was like 7 years old, man, and he corner, man, contain outside, and he kept letting him get outside. And I was just like, fuck, I wanted to kill him. But I didn't say anything to him when I went home. And then once I didn't say anything to him, the next day came and he's like, Daddy, such and such. And it's like, it's done. It's over with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So from that point on, like even during the games, I really don't say much to him at all. My son's a very quiet kid. He's completely different than I am. He has more of his mom personality. I was more of a, but I was quiet when I played too, until you pissed me off. When you pissed me off, it was on and popping. But he has a different demeanor, you know, and he internalizes everything. He doesn't really say much, but you can tell he's thinking.
Yeah.
And when you get a kid like that, it's kind of best for them to do things on their own, let them figure out the right and wrong on their own. Like this past week, he fumbled the ball. He hasn't fumbled the ball all season. He fumbled the ball. I looked at him. I said, you owe me one.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all you gotta say.
You owe me one. That's it. I already knew because he's hard on himself. You know what I mean? So
Probably coming back to the huddle.
So when
like,
you say you owe me one, what does that really mean?
I mean, you owe me one. You fucked up. You owe me one.
Go get the ball somehow.
Go make it up. You better get your ass in the end zone somehow. Go get me the ball. Whatever it is that you got to do, you owe me one. And that's all I say. Like I let the other coaches deal with him, and I'll deal with like some of the other coaches' kids. You know what I mean? And that's the best way to handle it, because I never wanted to coach my son. I never wanted to coach my son. I got thrown into this by default. When he was 6 years old, he started playing. I was on the sideline. I had my Yeti cup. I'm just chilling in my lounge chair, just watching them. And a couple of the coaches left. I think they went to go coach like Columbus basketball or something like that. And they didn't have any coaches. So one of the other parents volunteered me, hey, Trill, come on, man. Like, I know, man, come on, man, just help him out. And I'm like, yo, like, I really don't want to. Like, I don't know this lane. I've never done it. I really don't want to do it. And it's honestly probably one of the few best things I've done in my life.
It's hard, though. It's hard to sit on the sidelines as a dad, knowing that you kind of know a lot more than the people that are there. Your son is there, and I know you got a passion for kids. You want to help, not just your kid, because you can help your kid at home.
Oh, yeah.
But who's going to help the other kids?
Yeah.
That's why you stepped
And
in
that's
there.
what it's about.
And that's what it's about.
Man, listen, I tell people this all the time. If it was just for my kid, I would not be out there.
No.
Bruh. Go, man. Like, when it's time for me to put my hands on him, I know when it's time. You know, a lot of other people might not know when it's time, but I know when it's time. It ain't now. He just turned 9 years old. Bro, have fun. Play the game. Everything that my son does, he does naturally. We may train together 10 times in a year, him and I. 10 times out of 365 days, we may train together. People look at him and they see his performances or they see the way he does things. They're like, man, Trill, like, be on him. No, I don't. Bro, he doesn't. Out of baseball season, he doesn't touch a baseball. I can't tell you last time he touched a soccer ball. Probably last time you saw him on the field.
Really?
I swear on everything I love. He does not touch a soccer ball.
He's just a natural.
He's a natural athlete. But when you get kids like that, just let them be. Because you don't want to burn them out too early.
Everyone's telling me that because you know about my two boys. I'm always pushing.
Right.
And it was like, don't burn them out. So it's hard to find that line. Where is that line where you don't want to push too much? You don't want them to get upset with you, or you don't want them to like say, I don't want to do this anymore. So it's hard to find that line.
This is the thing with that, right? If your kids love to do something, they'll tell you. Like, you don't really have to push them. I don't think my son loves to do anything. He loves it when he's in the moment. But out of that moment, he's a kid's kid. He'd rather go play with his friends over at the lake house, or he's a kid's kid. He didn't look at sports the same way I looked at sports when I was young. All I ever wanted to do was play football. That's all I ever want to do. Teachers would ask me, what's your backup plan? Football. What are you going to do if football doesn't work? Football.
We'll figure it out.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Football. Like, to me, if you had, to me, and it's retarded now, like when you think about it, right? You always want to have a backup plan, all right? Who wouldn't have a backup plan? But for me, what I would tell myself when I was younger is that if I have a backup plan, I'm already kind of telling myself that there's a possibility I wouldn't make it.
Yeah, you fail.
And that shit wasn't even part of my, that wasn't a part of my
It was in your
system.
vocabulary.
That's a mentality that most people don't have, and they don't understand it.
Yeah, that wasn't,
When,
that
when
wasn't
you
a
tell
part
them
of
that's
me.
all, I didn't have a second plan. When I was done playing, they were like, "What's your plan?" I said, "I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't have a plan. I never even thought about life without football.
Right.
There was nothing else, and I think that's the difference in today. You know, we have done well, and our kids have all these other things,
Right.
and I don't think that's the only thing that scares me. I don't know if they're hungry like we were. Like,
No, they're not.
I know that.
It's not even close.
not even close.
But these generations now are different. They might not be as hungry as we were because they have way more resources. They have so much more going on, right? But there's gonna come a time where it's gonna become real important to them. And when that time comes, that's when you put your foot to the pedal. It's not now. They got too much now. They have too many distractions now. Your kids can go do whatever they want to do when they want to do it. My kids can do whatever they want to do when they want to do it. So the time isn't now. But there is going to be a time when they're going to lock in and they're going to focus. And like, damn, like, this is something that I want. This isn't something that daddy wants me to do. This is something that I want. If you would have asked me, I would rather my son play baseball or soccer, truthfully.
We've talked about that.
Yeah, I love football. Never loved the sport more than football. But if you ask me something that I would want for my son, I would rather choose baseball or soccer
Why?
if he can be successful at it.
Why?
It's just a different type of grind. It's a different type of grind. Even now, football is a lot watered down. It's not like crazy back in our days when we used to get knocked out with barely any padding in your heads and stuff like that.
I'm
I
from
think
the era, the 01 era.
Yeah.
I played at Braddock, so I want to go over that era. But yeah, it was different.
so, football back then was different. Now they have so much more protection for the helmets, the shoulder pads. You can't target, you can't crack back, you can't peel back block. So football is a lot watered down than what I'm used to, but still, when you have your kids, that's always a concern, right? The concussions, the CTE, all that stuff. Like, I'll be lying if I say that wasn't a concern of mine. It's always a concern. That's my baby. You know what I mean? Like, what I went through certain things so you wouldn't have to go through it. But ultimately, even with all that being said, he's going to always make his own choice. If you want to play soccer, let's play soccer, but we're going to go get it. If you're going to play baseball, let's play baseball, but we're going to go get it. If you want to play football, let's play football. But now you got to dig deep for that one. That's a different beast. Football is different than any other sport in the world.
What's your message for the parents that have kids these days and they're trying to get them into different sports? What's your message for them? How should they handle their kids these days? What would your advice be for them?
Let your kid play as many sports as they want. Being versatile, using different muscles, different tactics, your mindset is different. That's like eating the same food every single day, right? Or would you want to switch it up like 3-4 times a week? It's all relevant. Because there's going to be a time when whatever sport they choose is going to be the only sport that they're doing. Right now, when they're kids, man, let them be kids. Because they're gaining new friends. They're in different environments. When June plays baseball, his surroundings is completely different than he plays football. The verbiage he hears is different than when he plays football. The parents he's around is different than when you go to a football game versus a baseball game or soccer game, it's different.
Huge.
It's different.
Yep.
Football games, you got that hood shit, buddy with dreads and goals. He, bam, 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 bam. It's different.
It's different,
When you
yeah.
go to baseball, they're sitting back. They may have a Yeti, Hey, good job. Nah. Football is the club on Saturdays.
Right.
They hanging out. But I want my son. My son will never be me. He'll never be able to be raised in Homestead in Florida City. He'll never be able to walk to a corner store at 6 and 7 years old and see hookers and drug dealers and prostitutes. He'll never be able to see that. But that's what I saw. That's what I saw. And people always ask, like, man, like, you don't feel like unsafe when you go like down to Homestead, Florida? Man, why? Those are my people. That's my hood. They gonna protect me before you protect me. Because when one make it, we all make it. And that's what people really don't understand is I want my son, and it's ironic because Coach Swayze told me this when I was young. He was like, man, you have an off and on switch. You got that light switch. And back in them days, I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, light switch? But as I got older, it started to resonate, right? And Trill, you come from a good family background. You guys weren't rich under any means, but you were middle class. You weren't poor. There was a time when my mom and dad was poor, but I wasn't born. My oldest brother witnessed more of that than me. Good family structure. Mom's in the school system, dad's is a police. You educated, you're a smart guy. 3.8 GPA, almost 1,200 SAT. Yeah, you got all that. But when you're on the field, boy, you got that dog in you. You got that dog. You can put on a suit and tie and go talk to any politician, any principal, any lawyer. But then you can go down to the hood and you can relate to them and blend right in with them as well, and you won't miss a beat. That's a light switch. That's an off and on switch. My son will never be able to get the experiences that I had, but I try my best to put him in different surroundings so that if he does, and he will run into situations or encounters or people in general, he's gonna at least know how to fit in. He's gonna know how to blend. Sure. It's not gonna be a culture shock like, oh my God, like, where am I? No. I can't have you like that, homeboy. Even my girls, same way with my girls. So everything that I instill in my son, I instill the same thing in my daughters. So I don't look at boy and girl, you're different. No, I mean, the way I raised them might be a little bit different. Sure. Men, you need to be head of the household. You need to do this, and this. Girls, I want you to have your own. Don't ever depend on a man for anything. Go get it. Sure. But my mentality for all three of them, go get it. If you want it, go get it.
I don't know why it sounds to me like your entire life right now, all your passion is about your kids and your family right now. Oh, yeah. I don't feel like nothing else matters to you these days. I'm watching you from Instagram or talk on the basketball court, and I can just tell that your whole entire life, you're present with your kids, and nothing else matters. I don't even think you even probably watch TV. You're always on top of them, making sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing and being a good role model.
Right. When Val and I decided to have kids, and when I was young, that was our only plan, was to make sure that these kids are good, make sure that they have everything they want without being spoiled. So
that's tough. Very tough.
That's very
That's
tough.
very tough.
That is extremely tough.
People don't realize that. Keeping them humble is hard.
Man, listen, because you have to do that. You have to work at keeping them humble, as opposed to when you're young, you're cutting the grass or you're weeding or you're picking weeds, and because you had to do it.
Right.
I got a lawn man.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I got
got
guys that watch the cars.
Right. Yeah.
But it didn't stop me from going to Disco Auto Park, getting everything they need. Y'all gonna start washing these cars. You got your little golf cart? Good, that's yours. Take care of it.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what this is? Pressure washer. Let's go. You wanna see those leaves over there? Let's get it, let's blow it. So, no, it's not what we had, but it's still something. I'm still trying to instill something into them as far as if you got something, you take care of it. If you want something nice, take care of it. Hard work. Don't always depend on other people to do your stuff. And that was my only goal, was to make sure that I one, financially secure myself, two, mentally secure myself to be able to raise children the way I wanted to, which was carefree. I mean, I don't have to work. I don't have to go out there and do certain things that maybe some other people that were in my position once have to do. Because for one, I had mama role that wasn't gonna let that shit happen. Right. That's number one. And two, I've always had a good head on my shoulders, and I've always had a good surrounding cast. Mom, dad, brothers, and sisters, like, they're strong. You know, they're strong people, and they made sure that their little brother or their son wasn't gonna fail. Right. You know, and not just at football, but in the classroom. Sure. My mom, not only my mom would get on me, my sister would get on me. Yeah. She's like the second mom, you know what I mean? She's the one that's real like this. You know, my brother is more quiet, like my dad, real laid back, real reserved, but he was the protector. Sure. You know, he was the protector. And
so you guys were tight.
Oh, we're tight. Yeah. Tight. I mean, that's all we've ever had. Like, when I looked up in the stands, I saw them. I never saw cousins. I never saw aunts and uncles. I saw them.
What a beautiful thing, man.
You know, from the time I was 6 years old, from the time I retired at 33 years old, it was them.
But you were blessed.
Yeah, 100%.
Compared to a lot of your teammates.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. I went to a Sunnyland game one day to see my nephew, Julian Armella. It was a Saturday morning, right here in Sunnyland. There were, I might have seen maybe like 10 or 12 moms. It's a full team, 35, 40 kids. I probably saw 2 dads.
Yeah.
It's a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And I went to see my nephew, and I'm like, where's everybody at? Where are the parents?
They sleep, man.
Where are the parents?
Or they're not present.
Or they're not present. Like, it's a Saturday morning. I know people work, but I would have thought there would be more people out there.
Nah,
you know, like you and our kids play soccer, right?
You find more spectators than parents.
Exactly. Yeah. Our kids play soccer. When in the soccer world, grandma shows up, aunt shows up. They bring a gang of people.
But like I said, different environments.
Yeah, different environment.
It's different environments.
But you were blessed to have that kind of support.
Absolutely.
Coming where you came from, that's a blessing.
Extremely blessed. And I know how that made me feel as a kid. And when you're a kid, like, you love it and you look forward to it. As an adult, you appreciate it. It's a difference. Like, you understood, damn, man, my dad would rush home from work. He wouldn't even take his full uniform off. He would just take off his shirt and his gun belt. And he was at every single practice. Never said a word to coaches. That's the difference nowadays, right? Parents, every parent has a voice now. Yeah. You know, back in them days, they would pull your face mask, get in your shit. You know, Dad never said nothing. I played for Homestead Hurricanes, which was like a predominantly white Hispanic team when I was 6 years old. And that's the team that Sean and myself played for. And after that season, my dad said, nope. Going to Florida City.
Oh, wow. Not doing it.
No, not doing it. It's too easy. It's and he wasn't thinking NFL or any of that. He just wanted to push his son. Right. You know what I mean? And that's what it was all about. No one in my house was thinking NFL. I wasn't thinking NFL, even when I played the game. And people find that strange because I tell them all I ever wanted to do was play in the NFL. But I can't tell you that I actually thought about the NFL until my sophomore season, towards the end of my sophomore season, beginning of my junior season in college.
In college?
In college. Wow. Like, when I tell you, I wasn't thinking about it. I would always say it, I'm going to be in the NFL, be in the NFL. But I never thought, like,
can this really happen?
Can this really happen?
Sure.
I don't even know how it happens.
Sure. Yeah.
You know?
So I want to back up to your mom, because I read that your mom's the one that kept you at corner going into the draft, because I think they wanted to move you to safety. And she's like, nope, there's more money at cornerback. He's going to stay at corner.
Well,
is that true?
I was always a bigger corner, right? I was always on the bigger side. I got big legs, big butt. Like, I got, you know, I'm a thick dude. I was
you
never.
Look like you can still play now.
Yeah, I was, no, hell no. It's done. It's done. But I was never like your corner built. I was never built like a corner. Sure. But I can play like a corner. Hit like a linebacker, play like a corner. That was my game. That was the physicality of my game. But my mom, my mom always loved football. Before I was even born, she was a football fanatic. But once you have a son that's now in college or getting certain recognition, her being who she is, start internet surfing. So she's getting any type of information. I don't even know, man. That lady probably drove herself crazy. I don't even know, but getting all the information that she could possibly get, right, to make sure that I was good and to see what path I should go. We all knew that I was going to end up being a safety just from my build alone.
Right.
But my mom was like, when you go as a corner, corners are a hot commodity for the NFL. Everybody's looking for a corner, but not everyone's looking for a safety. So that was the reason why I stayed at corner.
Makes a lot of sense.
To make sure
crazy
I
you had
was
that
drafted
foresight.
as a corner.
Yeah.
Whatever happened once I got in the NFL,
that's it.
I didn't really
That's it.
care.
You're in, it's a wrap.
Yeah, I didn't care.
Yeah, of course.
But I wanted to be drafted as a corner.
So let's talk about your journey in the NFL. So you get to Arizona. How was it playing with Fitzgerald, Kurt Warner, those guys, and making that Super Bowl and losing to San Antonio Holmes on that unbelievable catch? And I
Damn,
think
you just gonna drive straight in there, huh? Damn.
Hey, you almost tripped Harrison down the sideline. I don't know.
I'm trying. That was a thought.
Yeah, I know.
Trust
that was
me.
a thought.
That's why I was that damn close. People don't
Yeah.
understand why I was like, listen, I was about to trip his ass, man. Listen.
Oh, I see the picture.
Yeah,
You got that look.
it was a thought.
You ever
man.
see that picture?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta show you that.
It was a thought. But man, playing with guys like Kurt Warner, Anquan Bolden, Darnell Dockett, who's a dog.
Yep. Florida State guy.
Yeah. He and Larry Fitzgerald. Larry Fitzgerald was, in my opinion, the best professional I've ever played with.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that question. Who's the best
that-
receiver, but best professional you've ever played with?
Best professional I've ever played with.
Just all around.
Just, bro, like, he attacked it like every day was the same. He would catch, let's say if we were on the 20-yard line on the field, he would catch a 5-yard slant and take that shit the rest of the 75. Every time.
So he finished through.
Touched the ball. I ain't talking about 80% of the time. I ain't saying 95% of the time. 100% of the time. So when you see that, how do you not elevate yourself? Like, damn, I got to pick my shit
We're
up.
talking about in practice when he touches the ball. Most people run 20 yards and come
We're
back.
talking about practice.
He ran all the way.
All the way.
Yeah.
Every time.
You don't see that.
No.
So the coaches knew, all right, Larry catch the ball. All right, get somebody else in there.
Because he had to go all the way down
Go
there.
all the way back
Yeah.
and withdraw back.
How crazy were his hands?
The best hands I've ever seen in my life.
I would
best
rate him
hands-
best hands I've ever seen in the
The
NFL.
best hands I ever seen in my and not only were his hands good, his judgment was even better.
Yep.
He wasn't the highest jumper. He wasn't the fastest, wasn't the most physical, none of the above.
Right.
But the way he timed the ball, his leaping ability, like he made big guys look small because of his timing. You know, he was just a guy that also had to work extremely hard to get to where he was. He's not you look at him, he's a just physically gifted guy. No, not at all. But he worked so hard that he became one of the best receivers that ever played a game. Yeah. But he was a professional, man. Great guy on and off the field. Like that's my brother.
Those are good guys to look up to or learn from,
Those,
take notes.
the best guys.
The best guys.
The best guys. You know, Darnell Dockett, crazy as hell. Crazy as hell. But that's my boy. Like the way he attacked the game, man, like he loved football. He was mean as fuck. He was mean. He didn't care. Man,
I was a big fan of his at Florida State.
yeah, I seen him do stuff to teammates and he like, bro, like they finna be waiting for your ass in the parking lot, bro. But that's who he is. He just had that dog mentality.
So they have, you watch Hard Knocks or whatever. They always have the hazing or whatever. Do you have a hazing story from when you got to the league?
When I got to the league, no, I never really had a hazing like that.
didn't fuck with you?
When I get to the league, no, I don't really think so.
Didn't make you sing in front of the team?
I think we had to do like the rookie skits and things like that. I think we had to shave our head, but that was about it.
Pads.
Oh, we had to go pay for everybody with dinner and stuff like that. Yeah, we had to carry the older guy stuff.
Right.
But nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy.
Nothing. Nah, I never went through nothing crazy like that.
So you lose that Super Bowl, unfortunately. Horrible play. Then you go to the Giants and actually win one. How was that experience playing with Eli Manning that cast.
For me, that was the journey. You know, the Super Bowl itself was great because it's a Super Bowl. For me, the journey was the best part.
Sure.
For both the ones that I lost and the one that I won. Because the one that I lost, we were trash 2 years before that. Trash.
I know.
Call it whatever, we were trash, right?
Yeah.
But you see us start developing like that chemistry, that brotherhood, and then you start seeing us pull out more wins, and then there's a season, the infamous Denny Green. They were who we thought they were. Let them
off the hook.
That was the Bears' year, right? That's the year they went to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
We should have beat their ass. So we knew we were capable. And then the following year, you know, we get Coach Ken Wisenhunt, and we just built a team, man. We were still 9-7, but when we got hot, we got hot.
Yeah. Like, Eli got hot.
Well, this is Arizona.
Oh, Arizona, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
okay.
when we got hot, we got hot.
Okay.
Kurt Warner got
Kurt Warner, yeah.
hot. Larry Fitzgerald got hot. Anquan Bolden, like
They
we
started
were.
slinging.
Oh
all
my
over.
God! It was,
Another no, by the way. Bolden.
oh yeah, he's another dog.
Really?
Oh my God, Anquan's a dog.
Yeah.
Dog, like another great professional, man. Like
Really?
hell yeah.
He's done some great things after football too, right?
Oh yeah, but he's that guy. Like great guy on and off the field, family guy, Christian guy. Does a lot for the community. Yeah. A lot for foundations and everything like that. But those are great role models, you know, as if you're a young guy to follow.
Okay.
Anquan never partied with me. Never probably had a drink. You know, I wouldn't even hear him curse. Man, darn.
He was country.
Country, but
Pokey guy, I think, right?
Yeah, Pokey, but
Yeah.
also had a family that he respected, and he, you know, a wife that he was with, Dion. He had kids at a young age, and that was his focus.
Yep.
So now, looking back, like I have my kid now. Now I see the light that he was in.
Which is not easy at that age.
No, it's not easy.
With all the stuff you got coming at you,
It's not
people
it.
pulling at you,
It's not
money
easy.
coming at you.
It's not easy.
To be able to do that at a young age like that, that's
You have to have
you had
a
a good
lot-
support. Yeah.
a good support, a lot of stamina.
Yeah.
You know, I can't imagine going and doing all what I was doing every single day and then come home to kids. Woo, boy. Yeah, that would have been different.
Sure.
But I mean, Arizona, like we built that team. You know, we lost final seconds of the game. But if you're gonna lose, I'd rather lose like that.
Yeah.
It hurt like hell. Oh my God, it hurt. But that was one of the best Super Bowls that you can put down in history. The battle back and forth, just a change of momentum back and forth. It was crazy. And, you know, I take my hat out to San Antonio, you know, whether it was a catch or not, man, who knows? But they called it one, and I'm calling it one because that's what they call.
Right.
Even if it wasn't a catch, I would still take my ring off and give it to him because that's a hell of a fucking play.
I mean, that's probably one of the greatest catches ever. Ever.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down. It was crazy, man. So you got to take your hat off and give credit where it's due in a situation like that.
Yeah.
And then, you know, to go to New York a couple years later, now it's different. Now I'm 4 years older now. My mindset is different. The first Super Bowl, you're like, damn, you know, I'm excited. You're excited. You're in the Super Bowl. What part is going on? What events you got going on? Such and such. The next time I went to the Super Bowl, I don't give a damn about no parties, no events, nothing. I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure I never feel what I felt again on my behalf. And I'm going to make sure everyone else is on the same page too. So I took a lot of heat that year, you know, in New York, calling out teammates. Listen, I love all my teammates, right? But when you're on an NFL stage at the highest level you can possibly be on, I was a guy that took pride in practice. Practice every day. Never missed practices. The only time I think I missed practices when I had surgery or I couldn't run. Only times. I remember I ran to a camera on a Thursday night. My knee looked like a water balloon, full of fluid. Still practice, played the game. I told my other safety, hey, I can't run this way. So something come this way, you better fucking cover me.
Yeah.
You better cover me. I can't run this way. I can only go left. I played the game.
Wow.
But that was my mentality. You know what I mean? Like my dad, I saw my dad work every day of his life and never take a day off. Like if you ask that old man right now how many accumulated sick days he have, he's probably gonna tell you in a couple thousands. He wouldn't take a day off
Whole
of work.
lifetime.
That's
probably.
crazy.
He wouldn't take a day off work.
That's crazy.
Like, but when you see something as a kid, you don't even know that it's sticking to you like that, right? You don't even know. Like, I wasn't doing it because, my dad never took off work. No, but I saw it. So when you saw it, it starts to stick with you. And we had guys, leaders of the teams, captains, whoever it may be, guys that we really depended on. Week in, week out, we're practicing out there, getting it. They're riding the bike, got a bruised shoulder, hurt neck, whatever the case may be. Legitimate injuries, they're hurting. But if you had to play today, would you play? Yeah, you're going to play. So get your ass out there and practice.
Yeah, that's not the mindset today.
But they didn't like that.
They don't make them like that
New
anymore.
York media didn't like that.
Yeah.
Because that's the media central of the world, right? So they felt like, Antrel's calling out his teammates and he's doing this, that, and the other. And I say, listen, I never said no names.
Right.
But if you ask me what our issue is or why we're not gelling and why we're not clicking, is because I can't look to my left and look to my right and see this guy out there. He's not knowing what I'm thinking. In order for you to know what I'm thinking, I should be able to look at Zeus right now and I give you a look and you already know what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That's the type of chemistry that I want with me on the field. I don't have to give you a signal or say anything. You already know what I'm thinking. Based off of formation, based off the way he moved, you know what I'm thinking, I know what you're thinking. We shouldn't have to talk. The stadium is loud. You can't really hear anyways.
Sure.
But when guys are not practicing with you, you're not going to have that chemistry. So we were 7-7, needed to win the last two games to have a shot at the playoffs.
Tom Coughlin was the coach, right?
Tom Coughlin was the coach.
Yeah. So would you attribute it to that being an NFL thing, that the guys changed their mindset? Was it a lack of standard in the organization? Or did it come from the top that allowed this type of mindset where guys were, could have probably practiced, but they kept them out? Like, why would this happen?
Who's to say, right? You got guys getting $10 million a year, $5 million a year, $3 million a year. If I say my neck hurt and I can't go, who's going to make me go?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, no one is going to make you do anything on NFL level. If you hurt and you feel like you have a legitimate injury, you have to respect that. Right? I just felt like it was too much soft shit going on. Yeah, I'm hurt. We all hurt. Shit. But if we want to go get it, you're going to have to fight through that pain.
Sure.
Because that's what it's going to take. You got to go through the goddamn fire. To win the Super Bowl, to get to a Super Bowl, you got to go through the fire.
Right.
It's the hardest shit ever. It's hard.
Right.
Because those teams are gunning for you at that point. And I've been fortunate enough to compete for two of them.
And you guys did it as a 6th seed, right?
We were the 6th seed.
Yeah,
we
I
were
remember
7-7, had to win the last two games.
Yeah.
We won those
So
two
you
games.
guys earned that Super Bowl. It's not like
Oh, absolutely. So at that point in time, I'm playing safety.
yeah.
We had a high first-round draft pick corner, young guy, Prince Amukamara, great player, but he wasn't ready. It wasn't his time. But when you're paying guys the money, you draft them, you want to see them progress, right? So I remember talking to my coach, general manager. This was after we lost to Washington Redskins. It was around my birthday, like around December 16th. And I called him. I said, hey, if you want us to get to the playoffs, we got to change this shit around. What do you mean? I'm tell you what I'm going to do. You got to take Prince off the field. You got to put Aaron Ross at corner. I'll go play safety. Deion Grant and Kenny has to be the safeties. Deion Grant has to be on the field. You can't put Prince Amukamara on the field over Deion. Deion is too valuable and too cerebral as a player to be on the sideline. He's the oldest guy on the team. He was, but he was cerebral. He was a teacher. He knew the game. We needed him on the field. Put me down low. I'll do all the dirty work. I don't care. I know I've been bitching and complaining, man. I haven't played safety all year. It's okay.
Yeah.
Let me do the dirty work. But we need to have us, Corey Webster, Aaron Ross, Kenny Phillips, Deion Grant, myself. It need to be us 5. And that way we can rock. Sorry, Prince, I love you, bro, but you can't be on here right now. Like, you ain't ready.
Wow. You're not ready yet.
You're not ready yet.
Wow.
And once we made that transition, boom,
That's it.
that shit was history.
And that was late in the year.
Oh, yeah, this was week 15.
Oh, wow.
Week 15. We never looked back from there.
Wow.
The chemistry was there.
The chemistry was insane. Chase Blackburn, who a guy at the beginning of that year was sitting on the couch. He wasn't even playing. They got him off the couch. Hey, man, come on, we hurt linebackers, we need you.
Yeah.
And Michael Boley, like 2 guys that you probably would never hear about in that Super Bowl run, but probably 2 of the most important guys on that defense.
Was Strahan on that team? You mind me?
No,
No, he
Strahan
was already
wasn't
gone. He was already
Yeah,
gone.
Justin Tugg,
It was
Osi
Justin Tugg.
Umayura,
Yeah.
JPP.
Yeah.
Man, those guys.
That D-line was real.
D-line.
They were for real. They were for real.
The ends were coming off the
Yeah.
point. I remember that.
Real deal.
Yeah.
They're coming.
Yeah.
But we built that chemistry, man.
Sure.
And once we found ourselves, we didn't look back. You know, we beat a very good Atlanta Falcons team. We beat Aaron Rodgers. They were 15-1. Come off a bye.
That's a big win.
I remember watching film that week with Aaron Rodgers, and I said that he's the only quarterback in the NFL that literally scared the shit out of me. Because I've been in games with him where, coach, you got to put up this amount of points. Defense, we're not going to stop him. He can do whatever the
He's
hell.
that dude.
He can do whatever he want to do with a football.
Yeah. Yeah.
He can put it on your ear, your kneecap, your ankle, on your shoestring, at the flick of a wrist.
Yeah.
So I was in a game, like I was in a shootout game. We won like 56 to something. It was a shootout game in Arizona. So I seen him literally rip a cornerback of mine apart, and the cornerback had exceptional coverage.
Sure.
But he just put the ball where he couldn't get it.
Couldn't get it.
And he was the only one that scared the shit out of me. And I said, man, I have to find a way. I have to find a way. And then once watching film, I noticed Greg Jennings is his security blanket. Whenever he gets in trouble, he goes to Greg. Greg is an inside slot receiver. I'm playing nickel. I'm going to fuck him up. All game long.
Were you getting up on him?
Whooped his ass. He needed ice after that game. And I love Greg. Greg, my boy. That's my boy. But at that point in time, man, I got to win.
Right.
Whooped. I put my hands on him. That's what I call putting paws. I put them paws on him all game long.
Yeah.
All day long.
Yeah.
And now you got to find another outlet. You better go to your number 2 or number 3 because it ain't going to be your number 1 because I got your number 1.
Donald Driver.
Shut down. Yeah, that shit was done.
What was it like winning the Super Bowl once you accomplish that? What was that like?
Exhausting.
You look exhausted in that picture right there.
Yo, I was.
Yeah.
I was exhausted. I'm sure. Like, I remember after the Super Bowl, everyone's down in the lobby partying, and I just remember being like this after the game. I couldn't talk.
The horse.
I didn't even know. I wasn't like that during the game. After the game, it's like, damn, I couldn't even talk. And I remember I was with Val, and she was like, babe, you gonna go downstairs and celebrate? I said, nah. I said, I'm gonna go upstairs and go to sleep. I'm tired. I emptied the tank. Man, I was done. I didn't have another 5 plays in me. I left that shit out there. Like, mentally more than physically.
Sure.
Like, I remember going into 2 weeks, you know, we get 2 weeks to prepare for the Super Bowl. And I would always go in on Tuesdays on our off days. And I would walk by the defensive meeting rooms, right? I would walk by, you know, like the little kid that's walking by on Christmas, you know, I would walk by the defensive meeting room just to look and peek and see what they trying to install, right? And they would always see me, Trey, come in here. I wanted them to do that, you know what I mean? Let me see what's going on. So I was always that guy. I was a real cerebral player. Never took any notes. I couldn't take notes. That wasn't my thing. But I would visualize. All right, this guy going motion. I know I got to do this. It was very photogenic. That's how I studied. That's how I remember my plays. That's how I remember my alignment, my adjustments. I played cornerback. I played nickel. I played safety. I played the bison position. I had 4 positions. So everyone had a game plan sheet, and it was covered. It was a front page covered. My game plan sheet was that. That was my game plan sheet. And I remember Coach Perry Fuel asking me, Trell, if you can't handle this, you let me know. It's a lot. Looked at him and said, no, I got this. Light work. But in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, shit, that's a lot. That's a lot. I've never had a game plan like that in my career. But I studied. It was to the point, man, where our Super Bowl practices were electrifying, to the point where I got scared. I was like, oh, shit, like, we're peaking too early. These practices are too crisp. They're too perfect. Like, everyone's on point. I'm like, damn, it's too good to be true. Something's going to go wrong. Like, I'm getting nervous because I'm watching us peak. But, man, like, it was exactly what we needed. Right. It was exactly what we needed. But I was able to hold it down, man, and our team came up big, you know. But that's the unselfish part, right? I wanted to play safety. I wanted to play safety, but what was going to be best for my team was for me to play the nickel in the bison position. So I had Wes Walker for majority of that game. Shiftiest.
Yeah, it's tough cover.
Oh, my God,
Yeah,
it's tough cover.
That white boy's tough.
But I remember I was, in the season, I believe I was like 210. And I remember for the Super Bowl, I looked at myself, I'm like, man, I look kind of skinny. I got on the scale, and I was like 202. So I had lost that weight, and I was like, I got to run around with this little quick, fast one. So it is what it is, you know. He got them paws, too, for the Super Bowl, you know, and we came out victorious. You know, we have a couple of dynamic plays. And
that was the David Tyree catch?
That was the Mario Manningham
on the sideline catch, yeah. There was two catches in Giants history.
Right. Crazy.
Yeah.
Right. But, man, like, but it's just the unselfishness from the team, and even from top to the bottom, right, to even say, let me listen to a player, right? Maybe he knows what he's talking about. Maybe he doesn't. Who knows at that point? And it worked out, you know. So I always thank them for allowing me to be me, allowing me to have a voice, and to tell them, hey, man, or to ask them, because I can't tell them anything, to ask them, hey, man, I think this is what we need to do. Like, this is going to be our best fit. And because of that, I got a little nugget that I never even wear. I never wear it.
I get it. Well, you know, as we wrap up, I want to talk about, because I come from the 2001, you know, your class. So I played football in that era. Andre Johnson was the year before, but Roscoe Parrish, Frank Gore, yourself, Sean Taylor. Do you think there'll be another era like that in high school? With that type of talent? Like
in high school?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you'll find it in high school.
Yeah.
Oh, some of these boys can flat out boogie.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, high school for sure. I thought you were going to say UM. I was like, hell no.
No, UM, I mean.
Nah.
To put that much talent in one team.
Nah, you're not. Well, the reason why you can find the talent on one team, but it wasn't just the talent that had us the way we were. It was the leadership. It was the Ed Reeds. It was, you know, man, you name it. Like, it was the Vince Wilfork, the Clinton Portises, Andre Johnson, Jeremy Shockey, like.
Jerome McDougal.
Legends.
Listen, but
Legends.
This is the crazy thing about that, right? A lot of people speculate about that team. It's the greatest team ever assembled. Yeah, I agree. I think it was the greatest team ever. And not just because I was on it. But when you got a 6'5", lanky white boy at quarterback by the name of Ken Dorsey, right? He was a fucking general. He was the epitome of that team. He was whatever I say, 90 other people behind is going to back it up. All I got to do is say it once. they're going to handle the rest. So if Ken Dorsey say 5 o'clock in the morning, we here on the field, let your ass not be there. Ken Dorsey wasn't going to say shit. It was going to be Reed. It was going to be Daryl. It was going to be the Vince. They were going to get on your ass. And you never want them to get on your ass. It was different. Right. It was held to a different standard. Dorsey was held like you couldn't not have told me he wasn't the president of the United States. but it was a shield. You couldn't touch him. But for a majority black team to have that confidence in a white boy as a quarterback, it broadened my horizons in the sense of football and its culture, right? I grew up majority where blacks took over football. But here's a white boy, he's leading this whole team. And there's no arguments. There's no debate. There's nothing. He's the captain. We're the soldiers.
The respect was there.
The respect was real.
Yeah.
So now it made you put things into perspective, right? And it followed like that throughout my entire NFL career. With Kurt Warner, you better not touch Kurt. You better not say nothing bad about Kurt. And Eli?
Yeah.
Shit. Eli?
Yeah.
You couldn't mess with Eli.
Yeah, you talk about the switch. You were talking about the switch earlier. Eli got that.
Eli, man, listen. Eli's a dog. Man.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
Eli facial expressions are kind of, will throw people off.
Yeah.
But Eli's a dog.
Yeah.
Like when he let that little roughy, that beard grow.
Yeah.
And I say, oh shit, it's go time. It's time to go to work.
Yeah.
Time to go to work.
Yeah.
But man, Eli was magical, man.
So last question I have for you, is Miami meeting your standard now? Because I've seen you say before they weren't meeting your standard. Do you think that standard's getting back to what it needs to be?
Meeting my standard.
Or the UM standard, 2001 standard, the UM.
No,
yeah.
it's no. Listen, I don't think that you can mention 2001 like with any of these teams UM has had over the last couple decades. But when you're talking about, are they better? Do they look more poised? Do they look like they have more attitude, more fight? Absolutely. So it's meeting my standards in that sense, but and that's all you can ask for, right? I don't expect those guys to be us.
Right.
I don't think there's ever going to be a team like that again. You're going to still have some dynamic teams. You're going to have teams that can go out there and just wreck shop at any given point in time. But for what team is now, they're doing an exceptional job because even in the games that everyone in the world just knew last game was over. Everyone knew it was over, but they're finding ways to win. So when you have a team like that, you got something. Yeah. That means you got fighters.
Well, it goes back to the general, right? Cam Ward.
Cam is different.
Yeah, he's different. He's a dog.
He's a poised man. He's poised and he's a silent assassin.
Yep.
That's what he is. He's a guy that doesn't seem to be easily rattled. And when you have someone like that as a quarterback and a leader of your team, you're giving yourself a chance.
Sure.
Brother, I wanted to tell you something. I think everybody here was looking forward to talking to you about football. I wasn't, right? I wanted to come to this podcast, and I wanted people to know the Antrel Rolle that I know, the family man,
right?
The man that's there for his kids, right? In times like today, you listen to politics, you listen to this, and there's so many kids growing up without a father. And I always, since the day I met you and I started following you on Instagram, I always told you, man, keep leading because there's so many of us watching you, right? The way you express yourself, the way you yell at your kid, but then you go and you hug them, the way you go do normal things, right? There's a stigma going around that, African Americans are suffering because they don't have a father figure.
Right.
And then I look at you and I got 2 or 3 other boys on social media and I'm always complimenting them because I didn't have that. My brother and I, we didn't have that growing up. And we wanted to be everything that our dad wasn't to us. And that's what we see in you. And then understanding where you come from, I could see
Right.
where all this is coming from.
Right.
But I want you to know that we're watching you, right?
Right.
We want you to do even more. Put it out there, because I think people need to understand it's really cool to be with your kids. It's really good to be on Instagram with your kid. It's cool to go to practice with your kid. You say your dad was at practice every day. I go to every single practice.
Right.
And people are like, why are you here? Because I don't want to be anywhere else.
Right.
This is what makes me happy. Watching my kids, I stand at a gate like this for 2 hours. I got no problem with that. Why are you here? Because I want to be here.
Right.
I love being here.
Love it.
And I know you do the same thing.
Absolutely.
And that's what I want people to know today. And I can hear your passion.
Yeah.
You want to talk about football, but what you really don't want to talk about is your kids.
But my kids, to me, like, that's everything, right? Like, that's my reason for existing. Like, football, I loved it. It was a chapter of my life. It was a journey. It was a lot of my life, 33 years of my life. But that's done, man. Like, and I think for me, the passion ended with football. I'm going to tell you the day. It's weird because I remember the day. I was in Chicago, and I would go up there for the off-season workout, train, whatever. And I came home. I just had my son. He had to be maybe 3 months old at the time, 2 months old. And I remember rushing home from the airplane and opening the gate and parking my car and running in because I wanted to see him. And I realized, I'm like, damn, I left my keys and my car on the whole night. And I was like, man, I don't really care for football like that anymore. Loved it. I loved the game. But I was like, that's my new foundation right there. And
that's your new love.
That year, I ended up getting released by Chicago. I suffered two pretty decent injuries the year before. They ended up drafting Deion Bush from Miami. They ended up releasing me. And for a second, I was like, man, let me go back. Let me show these motherfuckers like, who I am. Like, you releasing me? Like, I got injured. Let me show you who I am. Y'all must have forgot. But then the other part of me is like, when I would go and I would see him, like, nah, I'm done. Like, I'm good. I'm done. You know what I mean? Like, I wanted to be home with him. Mm-hmm. I wanted to be home with them. Val, my son at the time, my family. You miss a lot of family time too as well. And it was just a different chapter for me. So that's when I knew like it was over.
Then you had the girls.
And then I had the girls.
That's special.
Yeah, that's different.
The love is
the girls.
The whole perspective on life.
Yeah, the girls hit different. Like with the son, you got that tough love, and even him, he was a real lovable kid. Real affectionate kid. But the girls are like.
It's different. It's different.
Even when I'm tough on them, it's time. Like I know I have to be tough. Right?
It's hard, but
it's hard.
It's harder.
100%.
But it's harder.
Yeah.
You can look at your boy and like square up with him. With the girls, it's not that simple.
Nah, it ain't that simple. It's not that
I
simple.
squared up with my big one, but
Yeah.
a couple
Oh
times.
yeah. But I love it though, man. Having kids. That's everything.
It's a blessing,
for me.
brother.
It's a blessing to be able to be with them.
Yeah. The world needs more men like you, brother.
Yeah,
appreciate you.
keep
Thank
leading,
you.
keep coaching those kids because they're gonna remember you.
Oh yeah.
I know for a fact because I know your passion, and they'll be 20 and 30. And they'll be talking about how Antrel Rolle was a guy who probably even turned my life around. Yeah. And I'm gonna leave you with this: educate parents. We need education,
100%.
and I know it's a struggle for you as a dad sometimes, and that's why I want to leave you with that. Don't forget about the parents.
Right.
We thinking it's all about the kids, but we need coaching too.
Yeah, absolutely.
We need a lot of coaching.
But we all do.
Yep.
Yeah.
We all do, and even as coaches, like I'm someone who's played the game, been a part of the game. I'm not Bill Belichick. You know what I mean? Right. Like just because I played, that doesn't mean I can coach. I do know how to coach. I mean, I was a very cerebral player, but the antics of it, right? Like maybe even your delivery, right? Like sometimes I may mess up and deliver something to a kid the wrong way. It just happened this past weekend, right? I told a kid something in front of everybody else, and I'm like, damn, maybe you shouldn't have said it like that. I know what I meant. I didn't mean no harm. I'm so transparent to everyone, but you still gotta think, how may a 9, 10-year-old kid receive that message?
Yeah.
So, so I had to apologize to the kid, had to apologize to the parents, but as a coach and as a father and as a man, that's something that we should always do. Always hold yourself accountable, because one thing about me, I may be a hard coach, but no one loves them kids more than me. So I never ever want to have that relationship tainted because I'm a hard coach. I'm a hard coach, but they know me outside of coaching as coach. They still know me as Coach Rolle, but it's a different type of Coach Rolle. You know, my son knows me as coach on the field. He knows me as dad at home. So I never ever want to taint my relationship with any kid over X's and O's, or because of how they may perform on the field, because my relationship outside of football with them is far more important than my relationship with them on the field. 1,000%. So as a coach and as a man, you always got to take accountability. When you're wrong, admit you're wrong. You put it on the same way you blast a kid or you put it on Front Street, you better make sure you put your apology on Front Street as well. And you admit that, because there's nothing wrong with apologies. There's nothing wrong with understanding you were wrong. Make it right, you know? Thank God, you know, we're still here on this earth. If it's wrong, you have a chance to fix it.
The best leaders, in my opinion, are the ones that can show humility.
100%.
Man, I was on a soccer chat, and people were talking about you, and they said we need more coaches like this, because you went and you did your kind of self-interview on Instagram, and they're like, we need more coaches like this that held themselves accountable and was not scared to come out and talk. And if they were wrong, they say they're wrong. And I think the world needs more people like that. So keep doing what you're doing, brother. Like I said, there's a lot of us watching, man.
I appreciate that. Definitely, man. You keep doing what you're doing as well, man. Like, you know, we that's the thing with sports, right? Like, a lot of my life I related to sports. If it's Ed Reed or Troy Polamalu or Brian Dawkins, what made them good safeties? Let me watch and steal certain things, right? So you can watch and you steal certain things from fathers.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my new lane. That's your new lane.
I know.
You know, we look and we steal certain things. Man, damn, I like that they did that with the daughters. Let me try that with mine. Yeah. Or I like they did this with their son, you know, let me try it with mine. Yeah. You know, and that's the name of the game right now. You know, sports is temporary. Yeah. This is forever. Yeah, fatherhood and your kids are forever.
Well, you can tell that your passion for this right now, it's everything right now. Yeah. You can just tell when I'm interviewing you, and you always bring it back to the kids. Yeah. It's your life.
That's everything.
It's everything right now.
Listen, I might have done what I've done, but I ain't nothing without those kids. Yeah, you know, that's what it is.
Well, appreciate you, brother. Thank you for taking the time,
appreciate
man.
Keep
leading, brother.
Appreciate it, man. Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
With the 8th selection in the 2005 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Antrel Rolle, cornerback, University of Miami.
Over the middle, intercepted.
Crazy.
Release over the middle, pass deflected.
You would have asked me, I would rather my son play baseball or soccer. team is now exceptional. They got what they wanted in Pacman Jones. I didn't name the Kendall Steele. Whatever I say,